Hi everyone, welcome to today's video. My name's Stephanie and today I'm back with another window shopping video for Hella Handmade. Hella Handmade, or HHC for short, is another monthly pre-order marketplace. So it's similar to PPU, but instead of taking place over the course of the weekend, we have a whole week to shop. Another main difference is that HHC doesn't have a monthly theme like PPU, but instead every brand follows their own theme. And I like to do window shopping because it's just so fun to look at a lot of pretty polishes, but I also do offer some comparisons and potential dupes. So as you can see, this is another long video, so make sure you have something to drink and get cozy and we can just start the window shopping. Alright, so here is the website for Hella Handmade this month. The shop will be open from the 14th through the 21st, and looking at the first two rows, I would say the one that appeals to me the most is the Alchemy Lacquer's Blooming Grimoire, but it also has a very familiar vibe. I initially was gonna say it reminds me of another Alchemy Lacquers, funny enough, from a previous HHC a few years ago, I think at this point, called Stroll, but I think that one's a bit more pink leaning, or more of like a much warmer, reddy purple as opposed to this shade, but it seems like the similar kind of multi-chrome shimmer. But even aside from that, I feel like just looking at it, we've seen it before, but I also can't put my finger on what exactly. So I'm so sorry, that must be so frustrating. I don't think it's quite the same as Mooncat's Curse of Calypso, which, as many of you know, got retired for having a really bad fading problem. I think the shimmer in this is a bit more glowy, possibly, or maybe the base is just darker. Really pretty polish, but just too familiar for me. And the other polishes aren't really appealing to me and not looking familiar either. So at least they're, you know, kind of unique in that way, but yeah, not really for me. So we can just move on to the next two rows, and let's actually just go here because I'm only really looking at the nail polishes. And okay, from here, I don't know how much I can say, but there is an upcoming polish from Glitch that I think is similar to this Artist Nails, called the Bay, being this like green, pink, flaky sort of combo. Well, now that I see more photos of it, it looks a little bit more simple than I thought, being like a green jelly with these flakies. So I feel like you could kind of recreate this with Holo Taco's, which one is it? I think Cosmic Unicorn Skin is the pink one, and one of the green jellies from Cirque or something. Maybe not this exact shade of green, but yeah, it's actually kind of a simple vibe. And the other shades, I mean, maybe the Baroness X Curtain Call, I think is pretty, also kind of giving a familiar vibe. Like there's an Island P shade, I want to say, but I don't have it. I'm pretty sure Linry has it, but I don't remember what it's called. Oh, actually, maybe it's Interstellar, but maybe it's not this finish. I feel like it's a very similar color though, kind of this teal blue, but like very darkened, you know? So maybe it's not Interstellar, but Island P probably has something like that. And again, the other shades, not really for me, and they don't remind me of anything either, especially since they're thermals. I feel like they're not thermals that I've seen before, but yeah. So we can just keep going. And from here, okay, this BCB, I Do Not Fear Them. This one immediately is reminding me of Mooncat's Sakura Serenade, being that, you know, pink to pink thermal, but I think this might be a bit cooler toned. At least it looks like this in, you know, some of the photos, but then it's really only this photo that it kind of, maybe this one too, where it leans a little bit more of that warmer toned pink, but more of the photos lean cooler, at least to me. So maybe it's not, you know, an exact color match, but definitely really close. I guess maybe it could be also similar to one of the thermals from Fancy Gloss, because I remember last year a lot of people were sharing their thermals as much more affordable dupes to the Mooncat ones. The other BCB, the Mother's Day one called Therapy Session, this one is also giving a familiar vibe where some of the photos, I guess, like where it looks a little bit more multi-chrome, color shifty, It sort of reminds me of Mooncat's Lust for Vengeance, you know, at least like maybe the base color. I think maybe the shimmer is a bit different, or I remember it being a lot stronger and overpowering in the Mooncat shade. It looks a little bit, you know, softer and subdued, but still very contrasty at the same time. So since it's also a bit of a softer shimmer, I wonder if this would be, I don't think so. I'm also, what is it called? I'm thinking of the one purple, I think it's called like Midnight Ride, maybe from Holo Taco from the Royalty collection last year. I think that one's a much cooler tone purple though. This looks more of a pinky purple. Yeah, depending on the lighting, it can be like really pink leaning, but it's like a sibling polish to that one. You know what I mean? Like as far as the finish goes, the color, it's like in that same sphere, but not an exact dupe, I think. The Bee's Knees also kind of has a familiar vibe too, being this like, you know, swampy green, reflective. I wonder if KB Shimmer has a green like this. I only have the one much brighter kind of lime green called Pull It Together, and it's not anywhere near this. This is much more olivey, mossy, you know, kind of a prugly color, I would say. Pretty, you know, in a way it is kind of pretty. I just don't think I could pull this off, so that's fine. And I am intrigued by the Danny Viana here, but I wonder, yeah, there's the single listing, so we can just move on to these next two rows. This single one called Queen of the Castle, I want to say this reminds me of one of the new Cirque magnetics. I mean, it's not new, but I think it came out in January from that like Femme Fatale collection. It's been a minute since I watched a review video on it, so it might not be exactly the same. I mean, these photos from Caitlin where it looks much more red kind of remind me of Mooncat's Your Heart's a Black Hole, but you know, this has reflective glitter, so you could probably recreate it. But some of these photos look a lot darker, which I think the Cirque was like that, but I might just be misremembering. So either way, I think it's easy enough to like recreate. And then this other Cleona, or not other, the Cleona here, Mender, this color, oh my gosh, okay, it's reminding me of Polish's Space Cowboy, which was a Polish pickup shade from, I don't even know what year, I want to say maybe 2020. Definitely one of the oldest PPU shades that I have, because I feel like I started shopping around 2020, and it's a very similar, you know, denim blue sort of shade with a red shimmer. Obviously this is magnetic, so it's not, you know, an exact dupe or anything, but the color combo, just immediately I was like, I have this. At least, you know, from what I remember, it's pretty similar. Maybe the polish is a little darker or something, but yeah, it's a really gorgeous color combination. The Cracked Fairweather Friend, this one again is kind of giving that familiar vibe. I guess it's like that shimmer, right? It's like the shimmer against this sort of, I don't want to call it brown. Well, it's described as a warm brown, but we're seeing this combination more. I think this one is pretty unique, especially it being a warm brown. I can't think of a polish like this specifically, but I think they've just been like using the shimmer in other polishes, and that's why it's giving a familiar vibe, you know? The other Cracked called Thanks for Calling. Oh, that's sweet. This one, I was just talking about this in my polish pickup video, where I feel like it's kind of reminding me of Polish's Lucky Charms as far as the base color goes. Maybe in some photos, like this photo gives more Lucky Charms, but then in other photos the flakies stand out a little bit differently, like they almost have a metallic look, or at least some of the flakies look, you know, darker, right? But having that iridescent flaky with this sort of milky base, it's sort of reminding me of Polish's Lucky Charms. The problem is I can't remember what PPU shade I was comparing it to. Maybe it was Sylvan Claw. I thought that was maybe more white base though, so it could be a different one. But yeah, basically we've seen it before. And then the Cuticula shades, I want to say the green one is more familiar to me. I mean, when it comes to like this dark green magnetic with flakies in the back, I immediately think of Holo Taco's Wicked Potion, but I don't think this is the same shade of green. I can't tell if it's the base color or the magnetic shimmer that's a little different, because in some photos the base color does look dark, similar to Wicked Potion, but I don't know, there's something about it that's like it's a little off from how I remember Wicked Potion, but who knows, maybe it is actually really close. I think KB Shimmer also came out with a similar, like really vibrant, you know, green like this in their holiday collection this past winter, but I don't think that one had the flakies in the back. So yeah, ultimately it's giving familiar. And the other cuticula, Love You More, this one, I want to say it's reminding me of an Island Pea shade, but I don't have it in my collection. I mean, honestly, it kind of looks like a simple enough one to recreate potentially, because it sort of just looks like layering a rose gold topper, which Island Pea has, I think it's called Empress, and layering it over, you know, like a dark muted purple. I really love the purple that I see here compared to this purple where it's like a lot warmer toned, you know. This one, oh, this is so satisfying to me. So yeah, kind of hard to say exactly what shade or what the undertone is, but it's a pretty combination. So yeah, we can just keep it moving to the next 2 rows. And from here, again, getting a lot of familiar vibes. The Danglefoot, a Gruffalo, why didn't you know? I don't know what that even means, but this is kind of reminding me of Sylvan Claw's Mushroom Whimsy, but I imagine a much more opaque one, right? Like I'm assuming this is 2 coats, you know, even if it is 3 coats, it already looks so much more opaque than the Sylvan Claw one, because that one was really, really sheer. It kind of looks a little sheer here, but maybe it's just the lighting. It's so hard to tell. I really wish they could just include the number of coats in the corner. I know obviously everyone, you know, does it differently, but it would just be so helpful to know. But yeah, I think just this brown green shimmer combo, it's giving Mushroom Whimsy to me. The Emily DeMolly Porcelain Petal, what a beauty. Oh my gosh. I immediately was thinking of Holo Taco's Flirt Alert, but upon these closer photos, the glitters here are so different. Holo Taco has like the flakies, the holographic flakies. These look like little white matte, or yeah, red nail polish with white glitters and a light silvery pink magnetic. So it's a little bit different in that way. So cute though. Like it's kind of giving a cutesy ladybug or something. So I love that. And I want to say the other ones, maybe this Elb Cosmic Sailor Dream. The shimmer in here is sort of reminding me of Mooncat's Epilogue to Utopia, you know, being that really vibrant indigo against like a black base, but this obviously has additional flakies in the background. So maybe you could recreate it with Mooncat's Foxfire or something. But yeah, super, I love the color of the magnetic shimmer in this. So gorgeous. And the other Elb, I feel like we're seeing a lot of this magnetic multi-chrome color going from like the hot pink to the orange to the gold. Honestly, it's probably really similar to Crack's Just a Finch from PPU. This one has more of a black base though, so maybe this is even closer to Sassy Sauce's Firestarter. I want to say it's like, I don't know, there's something about it that I can't tell if it's more pink or maybe somehow just more vibrant, possibly a finer magnetic shimmer, like a fine particle or something. There's something about it that just looks like really crisp, at least compared to when I recently swatched Just a Finch and the Sassy Sauce. But yeah, I feel like we've definitely seen this magnetic shimmer already a couple of times, so you know, we'll probably see it again. I think the Garden Path is kind of reminding me of an old Glistening Glow from Polish Pickup a couple years ago called Nirvana Unplugged in New York. It's just a very similar color combination, at least in my mind. I unfortunately did destash that one. So it's been a minute since I've actually seen it, but the color, you know, the multi-chrome sort of shimmer finish, it just has that familiar vibe. And again, speaking of familiar, I kind of feel that way about the two Dawn polishes at the top, where they both seem like, you know, simple enough finishes that we probably have seen them before, but I'm just having such a hard time coming up with any comparisons. Like this pink, surely we have seen a pink shimmer like this. Looking at the intense glow of it, I want to say it immediately reminds me of previous Sassy Cats, I think, where they've done a very similar, like, glowy, almost pearlescent, you know, kind of shimmer finish. I just don't know if they've done this shade of pink before, but yeah, it's, you know, it's cute. And then the other one, the blue, this one being more of a hollow sort of finish. I would say this one's a little bit more interesting, more color shifty in a way. Yeah, it's described as a deep blue base with light blue and blue shifting shimmers and gold reflective glitter. So, okay, maybe the gold is, you know, something you can add, but the base color, we've probably seen that before, but where? What is it? Because it does look like a different shimmer finish than brands I'm thinking of, like, you know, blues from Holo Taco or from Cracked. So it is kind of unique in that way, I guess, but not enough to really appeal to me. So yeah, we can just move on. And this other garden path, it's Baboy. Beautiful finish, love it, but again, just kind of giving a very familiar vibe. I also talked about it in my PPU video that this sort of like holographic, flaky shimmer combination reminds me of the finishes that Bluebird does. I think Cuticula has done, you know, polishes like this as well. I'm sure like a couple of other indie brands do too, but they're not ones that I, you know, buy from frequently, right? So in my mind, it's just kind of harder to think of like more recent ones. But yeah, this is a beautiful color combination, so striking. I would say that the shimmer in this doesn't look as glowy as, you know, some of the others, but yeah, it's a nice shade. So yeah, we can keep going to the next two rows. And from here, this Hearts and Promises Sweet Spirit Rose, this looks like the shade of pink similar to Glitch's Lovey Dovey, the magnetic. Maybe this is a bit darker, maybe more cool toned. It's so hard to tell. Some of the photos are just they just like vary so much. So maybe it's not really similar to that one now that I look at it more, but it is a gorgeous hot pink. And this one also is not a magnetic, right? It's just kind of a hollow base with a pink gold aurora shimmer. Just super pretty. This photo sort of looks like Mooncat's Merkitten to me, but the other photos do not. So I wouldn't say it's a dupe for that one. But yeah, really lovely shade. I kind of really like this Hula Moon Fold in the Cheese. This gold, it's a champagne base, a gold to green shimmer, and scattered micro hollow flakes. That is so pretty. Oh, I love how like elegant this looks, you know? It's like a really pretty pastel sort of yellow. Admittedly, I love how it looks on the deeper skin tones. On me being lighter, it's probably not going to look that nice. Like, I don't love how it leans a bit more of this tan, like, you know, you see a bit more of this brownish undertone or like a caramel. Ooh, speaking of caramel, I guess maybe this reminds me of the Starly Gold Shimmer from their Liminal Dreams collection, but I think this is a lot lighter though. Like, this looks pastel in comparison. Almost very sandy in color. Not sandy like Holo Taco's Beach Please, because that's a little bit more cool toned, I would say. I think this has a bit more of a warmer undertone. Ooh, but some of these photos are like really cool. Like this photo, the color here looks more like Beach Please, but then obviously this photo, so warm. It's so pretty, but you know, just not for me. And I guess the only other one that's giving a familiar vibe here is the Patti Lopez Blossom Mama Glow, just because this sort of candy cane look is reminding me of Mooncat's Lord Vader, I think is the one that has like the red and silver combination, but this looks a lot more muted, you know, not as high contrast, even though it is a silver magnetic against a red shimmer. So maybe it could work, but Oh wow, it's described as a light green magnetic. I do not see the green in this at all. I wonder if that's because it's, I don't know, like color theory at play, right? Against like the red base, it just neutralizes it, so you completely lose the green. I mean, I see it like right there. Right there, that's the only place that I see green. But yeah, to me it just kind of looks like a more sad version of the Mooncat one, unfortunately. The blues on the bottom here are very pretty. The other Hula Moon, Mom Needs a Beach Day, this looks like it has a more shimmery, like foily metallic kind of vibe. I can't think of something that's close to this. Like, it's definitely a lot darker in color compared to something like Mooncat's Catfished, for example, which I cannot believe is on the Dearly Departed list. But that's kind of what I think of with this sort of finish, you know? So maybe layering Catfish if you already have that one, but I don't know. I don't know if it would work the other way around. Like doing one coat of this as like Mooncat's Catfish, maybe. And then the other blue in the Patti Lopez duo, which looks like it's only available as a duo. Oh no, it's here too. Okay, I'm so dumb. So yeah, let's just go into the next two rows here, right? This magnetic water dragon, stunning. Oh my gosh, I love the shade of blue. I was gonna say from that initial collage, the shade of blue reminds me so much of Holo Taco Sky Lounge from their Bon Voyage collection, the anniversary last year that was only available for like 3 weeks. It's just that really vibrant mid-tone kind of shade of blue. So striking. Definitely a lot brighter, I think, than Island Peas Adrian, which just came out. That one has a much deeper blue base, even like a darker magnetic pigment. I think the magnetic here has that like aqua color, you know. It's just so pretty, so striking. In some photos I can kind of see it looking similar to Starly's Oceanic Moonlight, but I think overall this is not nearly as vibrant or as dark. I think the base in that one is a lot darker. And yeah, the other polishes, I mean, I do like this Jen and Berries, Not Your Mama's Mauve. I love that. It's a pretty shade. I want to say it is familiar, but why can't I think of what it is? I mean, there are obviously a lot of brands that do, you know, a shimmer, dainty, hollow kind of finish, but I can't think of one with this sort of color. I guess like what this is reminding me of, this overall, you know, rosy mauve color is reminding me of the shimmer color in something like Crack's Grounded, or Kathleen and Co.'s Rosary Pea. Like, obviously those have, you know, deep brown bases, but the shimmer color, it looks like this as a polish, if that makes sense. So I would imagine this would pair beautifully with some of those browns. So it is really lovely, but yeah, I do not need it in my collection. And lastly, this Lily Pad Lacquer, it looks really lovely too. I love this iridescent flaky against this, you know, jelly base. Initially from this photo, I was gonna say it's kind of reminding me of an upcoming glitch, especially this photo too. Some of the other photos look a lot darker and just like a different shade of blue, you know, more of like a denim kind of color, or maybe not denim, but like a very dusty cornflower. But the ones that are lighter, like a lighter cornflower, this looks more like the glitch. So it is a little bit of a chameleon, but I think overall this is much more jelly leaning, and you see the flakies a lot easier. This one also, I guess, speaking of, you know, blue jellies with iridescent flakies, I shared recently Goodnight Polish's Icebreaker on my channel, which is a charity polish, but the shade of blue is definitely different. It's more of like a sky blue in the Goodnight polish, where this is cornflower. So, you know, it's a little different. I know, I guess it is called Denim Days, so calling it a denim blue isn't that far off. Really pretty, but I think you can also maybe kind of recreate it or something. I would guess that Cirque's Morning Tide is probably the closest to this, you know, light, powdery cornflower blue, but again, it depends on how many coats you do, you know, maybe layering it with another blue if you want to deepen it. And lastly, I was going to skip over this other Jen and Berry's delicious strawberry flavored death because I just didn't think I had something like this, and I mean I don't anymore, but it is kind of reminding me of Holo Taco's Jam Session, being that sort of tomato red kind of color, you know, with the shimmer and the holographic flakies. I think it is a little bit more sparkly looking in the Jen and Berries though. So while it is pretty in that way, the reason I got rid of Jam Session was for the color, which I feel like this is pretty similar. It's just not the right shade for me. So yeah, we can just move on now to the next 2 rows. And from here, okay, some pretty shades, some familiar vibes. This lurid called Sprout. Oh my gosh, what a beautiful green. I was gonna say it immediately was kind of reminding me of Holo Taco's Perry Don't Bother Me, maybe even a little bit of Mooncat's Serpents of Eden, or even Island Peace Frankie if it's unmagnetized, but I feel like all of those have a little bit more of like a yellowy green base. There's something about this that just is more green. Like obviously the shimmer that you see head on is yellow, right? But I don't know, the base, like what you see around that yellow shimmer, it just looks more green, and it is so beautiful. Actually, you know what this also is kind of reminding me of an upcoming glitch. So I don't think I'm allowed to share like a photo of it just yet because I haven't swatched it yet. I've just seen it in the bottle. So at least, you know, in text form, I can kind of confirm after swatching it if it's a close enough dupe or something, or you know what I mean. But yeah, it's just a beautiful, beautiful shade. I especially love this photo. It just looks so glowy. But yeah, in other photos where it leans a little bit more yellow or you see more of that golden flash, it kind of looks like Perry Don't Bother Me. So stunning. And the other familiar one is the Moonshine Magnetic Midnight, where this color combination is reminding me of Island Peas. I think it's called Madhouse. That's the green and purple one, but this looks like a much finer or smoother magnetic pigment. I feel like a lot of Island Pea magnetics have a much larger shimmer particle, which, you know, I do love a lot of Island Pea magnetics. I especially love the formulas, but sometimes I'm like, man, I wish they were smaller shimmers. So this looks, you know, kind of similar to that one. And speaking of Island Pea, this Nailed It, the Mother's Day one, Never Dull Your Sparkle. This one kind of looks like rose water to me. I don't have that one. I know it's like such a cult classic, being this silver linear hollow with a pink shimmer. You know, there is something really pretty about it, but I don't know, it's just, I don't even usually wear a lot of silver to begin with, and it's just not enough pink for me. so yeah, I imagine this would be kind of close to that one. Maybe this has like a larger kind of particle going on or something, I don't know, but it's a similar vibe from far away at least. The other Nailed It, the thermal, called Bite Me, this being this blue on blue thermal with iridescent flakies, I was gonna say is sort of giving me Sylvan Claw's Koi Pond, but the shade of blue is just so different. The flakies are different. They're much more pink in this one. So yeah, I know they're not, you know, 1-to-1 by any means, but I personally would feel like I'm duping myself if I were to get this one. And unfortunately, I don't know of dupes for the other thermals, like the MJ lacquers on top, the Limby Designs, Fuster Cluck. This one, I would say, looks the most simple, like, you know, we've kind of seen it before. Oh my god, wait, didn't we just got a red, what was it called? Recess from Island P, from their Playground collection. I would say that's probably the closest to this. Maybe this is a little bit more pink leaning. Yeah, it's described as a juicy magenta, so I can definitely see that, but very similar with the finish, you know, the little iridescent flakies where it's like barely there, you know, you can see them, but they just like don't stand out as much in my opinion. So yeah, we can just move on now to the next 2 rows, and I'm not really feeling the shades here. I mean, obviously the one that stands out to me the most is the Nirvana Beauty Love You Always, being this like hot pink sort of shimmer. I initially was gonna say maybe it's kind of like Olive Ave's Magi, but it also doesn't look like that one at the same time. And I don't know, it also feels very different than the shimmers from Cirque, for example, like Wildberry West. You know, I mean, that one has like a blue shimmer, so it's different in that way. Maybe the base color, no, I think the base in this is a much brighter, lighter pink. So it's like close enough to other hot pink shimmers that I have. I definitely don't need another. The other Nirvana Beauty, those are my night peanuts. This one is reminding me of Holo Taco's 50 Shades of Greige, but with a reddish kind of shimmer. So, you know, not an exact dupe, but definitely close enough. And unfortunately, the top row of polishes aren't for me, and they're not really reminding me of anything, so we can just move on. And from here, okay, first of all, this Nothing Basic Sushi Cat Magnet, how stinking cute. I do not need that, so I'm not even gonna look at it, but it's so cute. As far as the polishes go, the one that caught my eye first is the Nothing Basic called Lionfish, because I had just finished watching a review video from Polish with Ray going over the new Moonshine Manny collection, and I swear they have a polish coming out, or it just came out, that is a near dupe to this. I think technically Mooncat's Like a Moth to a Flame is also similar, being, you know, a gray base with a fiery shimmer, but I think the shimmer in Mooncat is slightly larger, or I don't know, maybe the base is a little darker. There's something about it that just feels a little off. Like the shimmer is more glowy here, which reminded me of the Moonshine Manny, and oh my god, this collage is stunning. And another familiar one is this polish, Mad as a Hatter. This one looks like Holo Taco's Trick or Trash from their Halloween collection last year, being that black jelly base with the rainbow metallic flakies. This looks maybe way more packed with the flakies, or I don't know, I can't tell if the flakies are different. Like, they have this very foily sort of finish to them. So it is really similar. Oh, I guess technically this is described as a sheer violet, so it's not black, but close enough. And I want to say the other polish, you know, again, it kind of has that finish that we've seen before, right? With the shimmery base, the hollow flaky, but I can't put my finger on a color that's like this. I at least don't think I have one in my collection like this. The shimmer itself, you know, going from this sort of magenta fuchsia color to the red, kind of reminds me of Mooncat's Freshly Bitten, but, you know, totally different base color and hollow sparkle. And I think the last familiar one for me is this Paint It Pretty Matriarch Sparkle, where this looks like the Finding Feathers charity polish that I picked up and shared recently called the Audacity, where it's kind of, yeah, this like small micro glitter, very uniform in the size, but it's hot pink, you know, super sparkly. So yeah, this is a dupe for that, or there is a dupe for this one rather. Oh, that glowy Nothing Basic at the top, Purest Form of Love, this one is looking really pretty, but okay, I guess now that I see more photos, I was gonna say it's giving a little bit, you know, Holo Tacos Made Me Ink, but not really. I think this has smaller flakies, maybe it's more densely packed, maybe the base color is also slightly different too, but, you know, kind of a familiar vibe for sure. Yeah, other than that, we can just move on to the next two rows, and from here, okay, the magnetics, the Penelope Loose magnetics are so striking. The one green, I am so cute. I have not seen a green like this. Okay, I guess the closest I can think of is Island Peas Velour from their Velvet collection a couple of spring seasons ago, but I feel like this is a little bit more chartreusey, right? And again, obviously more of a fine particle shimmer, while Island Pea is a little bit you know, different. It also has a hollow sparkle in the background, so it's not an exact dupe, but yeah, this is such a unique shade of green for a magnetic. I imagine so many people are gonna love this one. Unfortunately, I don't think it's quite for me. The other magnetic, oh, it seems like it's a duo, but this purple shade, I think this one, yeah, this is Lovely Card, a glass magnetic lilac with red shimmer. I mean, I kind of don't see the red shimmer, and I don't know, I don't think it's this one, right? Because this is the red gold. Either way, this polish, the magnetic pigment here, like the velvet effect, immediately reminded me of this vapid lacquer from Polish Pickup a couple of years ago now, I think, called the Seven Ravens, but the base in this is so much darker, which is such a shame because I love that vapid. Such a beautiful magnetic shimmer, but yeah, for me the base is a bit too dark, and I love the magnetics on the bottom. I mean, the one Pepper Polish Celestial Regent, this one is kind of giving also Mooncat's Epilogue to Utopia, right, being, you know, very indigo leaning, but this one is described as a deep purple base as opposed to a true black, and I feel like you can kind of see that in some of the photos, right? It's not a super dark inky black base, but yeah, it's still very gorgeous. Ugh, I love the color of that one. And the other one, A Mother's Embrace, I love how colorful that is. I want to say it's like giving a familiar vibe, but at the same time, I also can't really put my finger on what shade exactly. Like from Island P, I immediately think of something like Flipside having that purple to blue kind of shift, but it's so different because this Pepper Polish has a red background shimmer, so it's kind of like a combination of shades or something, you know. So it is really pretty. I like how colorful it is, but just, you know, not for me. So we can keep going to the next two rows, and from here I would say the one that's just giving the most familiar vibes is this Phoenix Gaze of Stone, where, you know, it kind of looks like Mooncat's Mermaid Bait, or no, what's another one that has more of an orangey shimmer? I mean, recent polishes that have an orange shimmer with a blue base, you know, I think of Crack's Get the Fuck Out Ice, like their charity polish, but this is such a different shade of blue. It's just so much more vibrant, I think, but the shimmer color, you know, the combination is kind of similar in a way. Super, super beautiful. It just reminds me of a sunset. I love it so much. And I guess the Psyche Minerals to Love You 2.5, this kind of gives me KB Shimmers There's a Nap for That, or Take a Nap, something like that. Just being this darker, like raspberry pink, you know, reflective glitter, but again, with Psyche, they add in a little bit of these iridescent flakies, you know, some extra kind of glitters in there, so it's a little bit more unique that way. But I guess in some photos it also looks a lot darker and like not even pink, so definitely an interesting shade. But the other ones, not really speaking to me, not really giving familiar vibes, so we'll keep going. And yeah, I kind of feel the same about the couple of polishes here. I mean, the Red Eyed being another pink to pink thermal. This one is just so much more pastel compared to Mooncat's Sakura Serenade. Wasn't there? Oh my gosh, wait, there's a pink from Apocalypse. I think it was called Wednesday, or no, Thursday, right? That's the pink version. So maybe that one is the closest to this. I don't quite remember, but in my mind it's giving that familiar itch, you know. So yeah, I guess we can just keep going. And from here, you know, they're not, again, really speaking to me. I mean, maybe this Rogue is kind of like the Prison Parade Flaky from the Bloodlust collection. I think it was Fang Teas. Sort of a similar, you know, vibe, at least being a purple jelly with the flakies, but I just don't remember the exact color combination. So it might be a little bit different, but definitely familiar, right? Or like super similar at least. I do really like these Sassy Cats right next to it. Blue Hour Bloom. This color is so pretty. Ooh, but it does kind of look a little textured. I feel like some polishes, like I know in my collection, one that has a very similar visual look to this is Cirque's Wish Come True, that like tealy green, you know, seafoam jade kind of color. And it's such a shame because it's so pretty, right? But it's just, I guess, the specific shimmer pigment in combination with the reflective, because I mean, reflective glitter is already kind of textured, right? Like you definitely want to use a glitter grabber type of top coat to smooth everything out. But I feel like some polishes with a specific kind of shimmer, maybe it's just like a super finely milled shimmer, it just gives it this extra textured look. So I know some people are not big fans of that. I'm kind of forgiving, I think, you know, depending on the color, but I just don't need this one in my collection, but it is really pretty. I wonder if it would be something like Mooncat's River Styx or, no, I think it might be like a little darker than that or just not as shifty, right? But I don't know, in some photos I can kind of see it. So if I wear River Styx and put a reflective topper over that, I feel like it would kind of scratch the itch, you know? But yeah, the other polishes, I mean, funny enough, the Sassy Sauce on the bottom, Thigh's the Limit. It kind of looks like a similar, you know, blue base. Maybe this is a little darker, more teal leaning, but then it has a pink reflective, which is pretty. I always love a pink reflective, but I just don't need it, you know? So we can keep going. And from here, okay, I know we're getting towards the bottom, right? With all the Vibrant Scents, like base and top coats, but the actual polishes, not really into them. The one base coat, interestingly, Silk Stockings with the shimmer. I was gonna say this kind of gives me, you know, Mooncat's Petals for a Narcissist, but very interesting that that's a base coat because you're gonna cover it up. So why would it have shimmer in it? But I guess, I don't know, for, you know, layering it with other toppers or something, but let's just keep going. And from here, the Watcha magnetic, this red, super gorgeous. Another one that, you know, sort of gives Mooncats Your Heart's a Black Hole, being just so dark and vampy but still very red, because I think some red magnetics are a little too dark, you know, like Island Pea's Poison in my mind is a bit darker than this. It does also have like a different flaky in the background, so you know that's kind of different. And I think this is more of a blue toned red, or actually I don't know, because it's so hard. It's so hard to say. I'm trying to think of how this compares to Cracked Polish's Drugstore Chocolate, which is their, you know, pure red magnetic, but I think this is darker and a little bit more blue toned. But the shimmer obviously kind of has this like fiery angle to it. It's so stunning though. I wonder if this is another one that could be kind of similar to that new Cirque shade, but you know, it has like reflective glitter. But in my mind, the Cirque is like still darker, like a darker base at least, but very gorgeous. I love the sparkle, but I have plenty of red magnetics. And the only other one, well, I guess there's a, you know, two, the Wicked Zero Gravity, beautiful green shimmer. Oh my gosh, I love how this glows. So pretty, so bright, you know, just giving pretty spring vibes. Potentially though, another one that, you know, kind of looks textured because of the combination of the shimmer and the micro glitter. So it's kind of a shame, right? Because some photos it looks really nice, but then in others it's like you see a little bit more of that grittiness from the glitter, but super cute color. I think this is kind of what I wanted Mooncat's Banquet of Breadcrumbs to be from their, what was it? Not the Remedy, the Baroque collection, because that one was a bit too chartreuse, like a little too yellow leaning. I think this is, you know, more green, which I think is pretty, but I also just kind of don't need it in my collection. And as I'm sure you can guess, I also have to look at the other Wicked, the topper called A Mother's Love. Oh, how sweet. This has these super cute, like minty butterfly glitters, which immediately remind me of Fauve's Butterfly Garden, but this one also has little hearts. Oh, So stinking cute. So technically I feel like I could kind of recreate this. I mean, the hearts here look to be purple. Yeah, they're silver and purple hearts, and it also has raspberry mosaic and gold micro glitters. I wonder if the mosaic is the iridescent sparkle. I kind of hate when brands do that, when they like, you know, come up with their own names for things. But I get it, you know, it sounds nice, right? Like I know Bee's Knees also does that with their mosaic magnetics, but they're just multi-chrome. But anyway, super cute polish. Oh my gosh, I love it. Love the color scheme, but I kind of would be duping myself if I were to get it. So I won't, but it is really, really pretty. And the last thermal here, going downtown. What accent is this for? Oh, for Pittsburgh. That's kind of funny. I was gonna say this is giving a familiar vibe like from Fauve, but I feel like their thermals, well, first of all, I don't think they have a thermal reflective glitter like this. Like this is so reflective glitter heavy to me, and a lot of Fauve's thermals are very shimmer heavy, you know, or like their polishes in general are very shimmer heavy. So maybe this is more similar to something else. I mean, when I think of a blue to purple, I also think of Cirque's Ebb and Flow from a few years ago at this point, but I think this is more muted than that one was. I honestly love that it's reflective. It's so pretty, especially this photo. I love that like subtle, you know, gradient going on. But yeah, I don't need it, right? I just don't. So it's pretty, but we can move on. And okay, we're at the last row here, and oh my gosh, I mean, I would say my favorite is the Zombie Claw Zombie Pinup, this Crelly. I am obsessed with the base color of this. This reminds me of this super old polish that I got from Five Below. I think the brand was Fresh Paint, and I'm pretty sure it was called Honeydew. Oh, okay, wait, this is like so much more sheer though, you know, more of a jelly. But this photo where it kind of looks like, you know, a cream, it reminded me of that shade. It being a jelly definitely changes things. I don't think Cirque has a jelly that would be this shade of green. Like they have starfruit jelly, but that's a little bit more chartreusey. I feel like you'd have to mix or, you know, layer a couple of jellies, but this is such a fun color combination. Like I love the green and purple. I love the little purple flakes, but I kind of don't like the green flakes in here for some reason. So, and also the fact that it has like the circle glitters. I'm so weird with circle glitters where sometimes I like it in a polish, but then other times I don't. I think for this one I do though, because I like the color and the color combination. So I think, yeah, the problem pigment or whatever for me is the little green flakies. I don't know why I'm focusing in on those, but yeah, it's a cute a cute little Crelly, kind of giving those soft spring vibes, almost like, you know, a little flower field or something. I love it in theory, but I just don't need a shade like this in my collection. I feel like I wouldn't really wear it as often, but I love the concept, you know, the vision, it's there. I see it and I can appreciate it. But yeah, the other two shades on the bottom, not really for me, not really giving familiar vibes. And I'm pretty sure I have nothing in my wish list, so that's exciting. I have another skip. So that wraps up my window shopping for this month's Hella Handmade shop. As always, I would love to know what you think of this month's offerings and if you have anything in your wish list, because as you saw, I may have talked about a lot of polishes. There were a few shades that, you know, caught my eye here and there, but I'm actually skipping this month, which is very exciting. I mean, generally, I feel like I do skip Hella Handmade more than PPU, but I still feel proud that this is the second month of Hella Handmade that I'm skipping, because I just hope to do more of that this year, and it just makes for a more successful window shopping kind of video. So make sure you let me know if you're gonna be skipping with me, or again, if you have anything on your wish list. I would love to hear about it down below so we can chat about it. But thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!